One of the biggest issues an organization may face is implementing a records management program. There's a lot of backward or behind the scenes work that has to be done first. In our organization, we set up a records policy, records and information management policy, and we had that approved by the corporate management. Then we set a lot of processes involved, procedures, and naming conventions. And these were big because we had often been setting up folders and calling them Jim's folder and putting stuff in there called minutes and letters or whatever. So it was nothing that anyone could actually use. So a lot of the documentation was about how to name your document once you create it. And we had naming conventions for titles, naming conventions for dates, and that all helped because it's streamlined, and we could open up a record and anyone in the organization would know what it meant when we had this constant applied set of rules. The other things with implementing a records management program was people had to know that they were records custodians. Everyone was responsible for their records, and they all had records that they were responsible. For example, if you were in finance, you might be responsible for accounting records. If you were in HR, you might be responsible for taking care of resumes. If you worked in, leisure services department, you would be responsible for making schedules for when playgrounds were available. So whereas before people might have thought they were just their records, when you're actually putting that in a records management program for an organization, everyone has access to those records and they're shared. And I think it made the organization more more able to understand what everyone was doing. There was more sharing of documentation and less duplication, definitely. So, but there's definitely training that has to be involved, that everyone is just contributing to the records file plan. You're not going off and creating your own structures. You're following a corporate plan. And I think that's very important to understand, that there's one plan for the whole organization, and then there's the procedures and rules that you use to file in that plan.